Hello and welcome to the Daft Souls podcast. My name is Matt Lees and today I am joined by Mr. Chris Bratt.
Hello.
And Joe Scrabbles.
What?
It's good to have you both on here. It's the Nice Alliance.
Oh, God, fucking hell, already. Jeez. This isn't going to be fun.
Just a reminder, no, that's it. But just a reminder that if you haven't been keeping up with our Subterfuge Diaries series on coolghost.net, then you should absolutely do that just because of the reaction that got from these two. It continues to be a fantastic amount of fun to edit, and I think even though it's a bit squirm-inducing to watch, it's basically like reality TV, except the fun thing about it is that the people who are kind of being abused by it all know that was what was happening. Unlike people
in full control of our faculties.
Absolutely, unlike people on real reality TV who just think that they're going to be famous and loved.
Well, I do really want to be famous because of this. Imagine that. If I was just famous for being in front of a picture of Hunt for Red October, that was it. If that was my whole legacy.
You weren't in today's episode. What was all that about?
I don't know. Edits it.
It didn't make sense in the context. I think it's because there was a day Joe skipped a day in his diaries, in the audio diaries.
I skipped next week's.
Yes,
I think I
think it's because you said something about Matt.
I think when you recorded it must have been later in the day than everyone else because the way you were talking about stuff, it fit more in.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I just thought I'd leave it.
Because I record at the very end of every day. That's
yes. So that's why, Joe fans, if you're missing it, then that's why it didn't make the cut.
The quiet Scrabellion continues.
But do check that out on coolghost.net if you haven't done already. Obviously, the home of Daft Souls. And actually, something I've got going up tomorrow, now time, which means it went up last Thursday, is a video about Starcraft 2 Legacy of the Void.
Yeah.
Which I'm quite proud of because it's got some fun things in it.
Is this the single player or the multiplayer? Because I've dabbled in the single player.
Pretty much just the single player.
Cool.
It's not really a review video, I've got to say. It's more of a video talking about Starcraft 2, talking about Legacy of the Void and why it's kind of fun. But it's more of a celebration of games that are static in a weird way. I don't want to seem like a Luddite, but the video starts off with me talking about Fallout 4 and the fact that it's just like, it's clearly this great game for Bethesda fans, but it's not really for me, and that's fine, but it's kind of a bit upsetting when you see things that you used to really love have now just sort of changed and they're not for you anymore. Whereas StarCraft 2, for many reasons that I kind of go into in the video, is this weird thing that it's like, hey, yeah, it's a new StarCraft thing, and it's still exactly the same.
I'm glad you mentioned Fallout 4 there, because Blizzard released that the same week as Fallout 4.
Yes, they did.
I gotta just admire them a little bit for that. They're just like, fucking hell, we're Blizzard. I don't care.
Blizzard do not give a shit about anyone else's game.
The biggest game of the month, of several months indeed. And they just don't care. It's fine.
I wonder if if Legacy of the Void actually did really well.
It did, yeah. I don't know how it compares to the rest of StarCraft 2, but I remember I had that concern. I was like, oh God, Blizzard, are you sure about this? And then the next day they had sold 1 million copies.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a chance that it's done better than Fallout 4 at this point? Because StarCraft is enormous.
No chance.
No?
Because the thing is, it's sold relatively well. It sold 1 million in the first week. It's probably going to go on to sell about 2 or 3 million. But Fallout 4 has been insane numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, I've found it very amusing to watch all of the games websites in the world going, we've had our best month ever.
Yep.
Thanks, readers. It's like, don't thank the readers, just thank fucking Bethesda.
Well, that's going on in internal emails, I can tell you firsthand.
Absolutely.
We have an internal sort of, every week, everyone sends in their nominations for who on the team has done really well that week. And
you send in nominations, don't you just nominate yourself?
No,
I think Joe Scrabbles did very well.
No, you just send in a thing and say, I really like this piece by someone else. It's a nice little morale booster. I like it.
It's good.
A lot of people nominated Bethesda in the week that Fallout 4 came out.
Absolutely.
Because you're just cheers guys. I did the 11 best Fallout settlements. It was quite fun to research. I mean, it wasn't hard. There are millions to choose from.
Yeah.
And it got tons of hits.
Well, that's it. It's just everything is constantly now just Fallout. Well, that's why I decided, because I thought, I'm not personally interested in Fallout.
Yeah.
What's the point in me spending 20 hours playing this game just so I can go, oh, it's not for me?
Sure. Yeah.
I thought, StarCraft's out, and even though it's selling well, no one's fucking talking about it.
Yeah, which is really weird, because when you look at Legacy of the Void, I think I don't know how the story concludes, and actually I've heard that it's as hammy as Blizzard usually are. But,
yeah.
But it's like the conclusion of a 17-year story, in terms of the StarCraft franchise.
And I think I really do just play it for the single player. I always dabble in the multiplayer, but to be honest, I just find it a bit too much. It makes my heart feel like it's
I love
exploding.
strategy games. I just can't keep up with that stuff.
It's too stressful. I'm actually not bad at it, but I just find it's like, I worry it's going to give me an aneurysm. But I love the single player because it's that classic thing: just build a big army of whatever you want and then just trash the other bases and just feel like you're a god. And it has amazing lasers and explosions. And honestly, it's weird that it's so tonally dated, but in a way that's mega comforting.
Sure.
And that's what I love about it. It's like
I think sort of you're talking a little bit about the RTS genre at the moment because
yeah, of course.
I did a preview. I think I played 4 missions in total, the first 2 and then 2 later on. And I remember thinking, oh god, are we ever going to get a big budget RTS game like this again?
Probably not. No,
I don't see it. Like there are games like Company Heroes 2, like Relic are going to continue doing.
But I don't think
what you think like a big RTS game. But
I don't think Company Heroes 2 did as well for them as they'd hoped.
No.
So I think it's over.
Yeah,
I like if we're going to talk like really big RTS games, they tend to be hybrid type things. So like Total War always does well, and Total Warhammer will be big, but Total War Warhammer, as it's called.
But there was that Grey Goo game a couple of years ago, which was very critically acclaimed, but just fell on its arse.
It's just. I think Blizzard are so kind of merged with that genre. Like they are. I think they were the last hurrah for it.
Yeah.
And part of that's because at least in the multiplayer side of things, people have moved over to MOBAs. I think it's a very similar crowd that have.
This is what I kind of talk about.
We did it a little bit because we both kind of fell in love with Dota 2.
That's it. The clicking on things genre is now very much just moved on.
Yeah.
And but that's kind of, in a way, I'm really thankful for StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void because it shouldn't exist. And it's one of these things where the only reason it exists is because Blizzard said. I think honestly the only reason it exists is because Blizzard said we're going to make 3 parts. 5 years ago. If they hadn't said that, it just wouldn't exist.
It's so weird looking, like to see StarCraft 2, like when StarCraft 2 came out, like the thing that I remember is I played it with a specific friend who has now lived in Japan for years, and so it's really weird, like StarCraft 2 coming out again, and me going. First, I was a kid playing with a friend who I don't see anymore. It's like almost nostalgic. Just the title existing still in a cultural sense is so weird.
And that's the thing now that I boot up the latest expansion, put all the graphics up to warmth, and it's suddenly just playing such an anachronistic thing, but with all the bells and whistles and beautiful things of modern day.
Yeah,
it just feels like a real treat. And I think it's one of those things where, especially in the context of this month and having Fallout 4 and it being like, yeah, we love Fallout, and me being like, yeah, you do, and I love Fallout as well, but we just love different things, and mine is dead. It's really nice to just have this unbelievably luxurious version of something from my childhood. So it's one of those things where I felt a bit weird about doing it, but I felt like the only nice way to end the video was me saying cheers, Blizzard, because it's like I'm not sure this made good business sense for you to put so much money into making this gorgeous 3-part RTS game. I think they'd hoped that it would be another hurrah.
Yeah, like you say, that I think that decision was made years ago.
7 or 8 years ago.
At one point, StarCraft 2 was just going to be a single game, and they realised I think both the story they wanted to tell and the changes they wanted to make to multiplayer, it made more sense to do it over years. But that they said that like when StarCraft 2 came out. This hasn't been like last year. They didn't suddenly go, you know what everyone really wants right now. It was going to sell like hotcakes.
But I love that they didn't scrimp on it. They didn't scrimp on it. It was still absolutely full of ridiculously overdone, amazing cutscenes.
Oh god, their cutscene team is incredible. In fact, I was at BlizzCon this year and they revealed the Warcraft trailers in the movie trailer.
Yeah, and
I was a bit lukewarm to it, and I then saw the intro cinematic for the next World of Warcraft expansion. I was like, holy fuck. Like, I understand why this can't be the movie. I understand why you can't have those kind of production values for the whole thing. It'd be completely animated. But holy shit, those cutscenes look incredible.
And they've always done that. I remember cheating through Warcraft 1 to watch all the cutscenes in it. Like, they've always had, like, a sense of grandeur between the
Warcraft
stuff.
3 cutscenes blew my mind. And I don't use that phrase lightly. I remember when it came out.
They still listen to me. The Office kind of returning to his father moment is still like one of my favourite moments in video game single player stuff.
I do wonder if the one outlet for like full on successful like big budget RTS is a Warcraft 4. Like I could see them doing it because then they're playing to a market.
I've been thinking that, but at the same time,
past.
I think because they've done so much story and lore stuff with World of Warcraft, I don't know what they do.
Yeah, that is a genuine concern. They World of Warcraft, in my opinion, is kind of struggling with that itself. It's already had to go the whole freaking like Star Trek
go back in
alternate timeline stuff, which usually means like you're just scraping the bottom of the barrel.
And I thought that's a real shame because I thought the story
They're
in
bringing
Warcraft
Illidan
3
back again this time around.
I thought the story in Warcraft 3, although it was hammy and all this, I really loved it. And I can't remember any of the story stuff in World of Warcraft.
They had a little bit. Like the Lich King stuff was brilliant. Like they clearly had a story they wanted to tell there, and it was a continuation from Warcraft 3. The first time Illidan turned up, that was like I really enjoyed his kind of demise and everything. And then there was a point. I think for me it was Mists of Pandaria, where they brought what was a joke faction at one point in Warcraft as the centerpiece of.
I think if they're going to do it, they'd have to do a kind of like Star Wars reset of being like, okay, the pandas aren't canon anymore. We've had our fun.
And I can see them like. Why wouldn't you do that? I'd take it. I'd love a Warcraft 4. Like, not even. I don't like RTSs.
They would piss off. They. I don't think their fans would take it. There's some real invested people in the Warcraft lore.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that's just moved on in the same way that other things have. It's just different now.
I think a lot of those fans would still buy
still
it
doing
just to
stuff with
be
it.
angry.
Like, they've used.
Don't you think? It happens.
The value of spending money just so you can be mad.
There's a reason Senran Kagura got a second game.
They're doing a Warcraft movie. Like that is their, maybe they'll get some kind of impression as to how big the Warcraft story is into like outside of WoW now.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, I'm going to see it just because Duncan Jones is doing it.
I'm going to say because
David Bowie's son. Why wouldn't you watch
Warcraft? Like I can't help it. I'm still.
We've got a date, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Me and you can come with us if you want.
Yeah, I might do.
Yeah,
I'll come along.
I don't think it's going to be great. I'll just point that out.
No, neither do I. But I need to see it.
I need to see it.
Yeah.
Need is the word as well.
It's one of these things I just need to see this through.
Yeah, so, it's got a 100% hit rate as a director, so it's okay. Come on.
Not doing stories about orcs.
Imagine if it turned out to be like a really contemplative existential crisis movie like Moon. That'd be amazing. If it was just an orc like questioning his tusks.
Have you seen?
We could.
Have you seen the trailer though?
No, I don't care enough.
It's not.
I'm just going to watch it.
That. It's not. It's not going to be that. But it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Anyway, if you fancy me saying some of the same things I just said again, but wearing a suit jacket and a lovely pink background, then go Ghost and watch it. Production values on this video are pretty nice. I'm quite happy with it. I felt
like
really
a Warcraft cutscene.
No, I felt really good. It was actually 2 weeks ago now, a week ago. I felt really great. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do a video. Record a video. It's great. And then I just
what feels great? My back.
Yeah, then I messed up the muscles in my back spectacularly. Which is why if you're listening to Daft Souls, there's been no episodes for 2 weeks. We weren't being lazy. I had an accident and had to go to hospital temporarily, but everything's fine now, and the podcast is back in action.
Yeah, boy.
So, what have you guys been playing?
Well, speaking of Blizzard, you've been playing Overwatch,
Sure,
and I want to hear lots about Overwatch.
Let's get back on the Blizzard train.
Yeah, sure. So, I think this is partly because I went to my first BlizzCon this year, and I have been sort of indoctrinated into, like, people there were saying they don't just like playing games, they like playing Blizzard games, and I feel like some of that is kind of just being stored in my brain.
Are you making this an intervention? Is that what you want? Yeah.
No, Overwatch is really great. It is slightly annoying in the fact that it's currently in a closed beta, and the way they're inviting people is slow and unpredictable at the moment. But it's coming out like early next year, and from what I've played so far, it's brilliant. So it's their multiplayer shooter. It's going to be on PC and consoles as well, and
seems like it's a cross between a kind of MOBA or like Team Fortress style.
That's exactly what it is.
This I mean, that's my major question. Is like I'm not a huge MOBA fan, but
okay.
Overwatch speaks to me.
Sure. Well, I'm not.
I need to care about the nitty gritty of MOBA style stuff.
Not only when it comes to the characters. So the basic setup, at least, especially what they're showing in the beta at the moment, there's two modes. There's like point capture and payload, which is actually just a Team Fortress mode that they've quite clearly borrowed. And yeah, it is. So it's set up like Team Fortress. The teams take it in turn to attack and defend, and that wouldn't really interest me that much, despite the high production value and the fact that the kind of the trailer they released so far looks like a freaking Pixar movie.
Oh my god, I've watched that so many times. Speaking of their cutscenes,
they're doing a whole series of animated shorts based around these characters, which are going to be great. But
because I've never played Team Fortress 2, but I love the characters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
yeah, me too. And I'm not actually that big into Team Fortress 2. The thing that got me with Overwatch is the fact that so there are 4 different types of characters that you can pick. But within those roles, similar to a MOBA, there are a whole bunch of characters. In fact, there's 21 at the moment, and there will be more after the game launches. So there's just a huge amount of variation in terms of how each character plays, like moves around the map, how they interact with each other, and that bit just reminds me of picking my character in Dota 2. Like they all have, fit into these general positions.
So what are the four kind of classes you've got then?
So you've got tank, support, offensive, and defensive.
Sure.
And offensive and defensive, I actually don't think is the best way to describe how those characters work.
I mean, I was going to say, what's the difference there between a tank and defensive?
So a defensive character is usually something like there's a character that can literally turn into a turret.
Right.
So you want to set up in probably get a good stationary position to set up, and that character can't, because there's that element of setting up before it can do its big attack. It's not very good at moving with the payload or whatever. So you're defending points.
Well, I'll just say I've been basically following people on Twitter talking about Overwatch quite a lot, and I've heard some really mixed stuff about it. One of the things I have heard is that it's apparently, and this may have been something they've started to tweak already in the beta, but I've heard that it's not a lot of fun to play support. And that's an interesting thing in the fact that basically, for those of you who don't follow kind of MOBAs or anything like this, one of the nice things about these games is that you can play the kind of glory hunting characters, the characters who go and score the goals, basically.
Sure.
But if you want, you can just play the characters who just make sure that everyone else is having a nice time, keeping people with health, keeping people comfortable, looking after the heroes so they can shine. Basically like being a squire to a knight.
Sure.
And it's always a lot of fun. With one of the things I liked about Dota 2 is it's a lot of fun to play that character, that role.
The difference with Overwatch at the moment, and this is something that they have talked about on our tweaking, it's early days in the beta, to be fair to them. The support characters, probably less than any other type of character in the game, don't really have the same ability to show off as much. So like those big game-changing moments that support characters can totally do in MOBAs.
Yes.
They're not always
visible.
Yeah, and also like it's always very obvious when you should use certain abilities. Like there's because you get your ultimate ability is similar to MOBAs, but you get it much more frequently in Overwatch. It's usually the case that you'll use it like almost right away because you want to keep charging up. Yeah, it's just another one of your abilities. Whereas in MOBAs, I've always felt that like you have the opportunity to completely change how the match is about to go. That's a bit
like
generous.
Enigma's black hole or like Witch Doctor's kind of donk 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 donk.
Yeah.
God, I miss Dota sometimes, but I just don't have the time.
I think I would like to see that improve, but I still have fun with some of the support characters. They aren't all the same in that respect.
I really do wonder how much they can do about that because it is fundamentally an FPS, and I think that FPSs are always about moving and shooting at people. And if you've got a character where it's like, well, you don't have to shoot at people, then that's fine. But how do you make that fun? I guess you're shooting your own team.
All the support characters have like an offensive.
Sure.
You're always shooting at people and continue to do damage as well as performing whatever role you're doing, except for one that is kind of designed around the medic in Team Fortress 2. She can switch to like an offensive ability. But her character in particular is one of the ones that I'd say is a little bit dull for me. Because you feel like you make some important decisions in terms of who you're healing and when you use your more flashy abilities, but really the decisions are pretty straightforward. I can't look at someone playing that character and go, that person's amazing at playing this role.
Right.
And that's where the support characters seem to let themselves down. Whereas a lot of the other types of characters really do have those moments.
I think that's the interesting thing about this kind of game as well as, I actually played Dota for about 950 hours, which made me still just a complete noob.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what I was doing in the eyes of most people. But what was wonderful about it is there is so much, it's fun at first, but then there's so much politics to do with the roles. And it's not just this case of being like, oh, you're playing this badly. It's more that like, these roles need to exist. So it's like you're playing a game, and if somebody doesn't pick one of the support roles in their team, people are angry already just because they haven't got the composition.
This is actually one of the things that I think Overwatch does really fucking well. I think it realises that it is a different kind of game, and because of that, it allows hero switching mid-game, which I went into thinking I would hate, because I played quite a lot of Dota 2, not as much as you, but enough to like be of the mindset that like you pick your character and you like that is an important decision at the beginning of the game, and you need to prove that you can play it and fit into this team that everyone else has kind of picked around you. And there is some of that in Overwatch, but it's also about adapting to what the other team has picked and figuring out how to counter them. And that is a whole layer of strategy on top of it.
That's the kind of meta game I can get into. It's like, because I don't like the sort of shifting narrative of Dota's outside of games. That always bothered me. I'm just not, it doesn't resonate with me at all. But the idea of watching another team and going, fuck, they've got that guy, I've got to pick this guy. That actually really speaks to me.
I remember in my first week playing it, the turret character that I mentioned before, I've probably made it sound a little bit more boring than they actually are. I think a good player can do interesting things with that.
No, you didn't. I was just spacing out because I kept thinking, I'm really bad at that. Any game that requires me in a multiplayer shooter to put a turret in a certain place, I always just panic and put it somewhere useless.
I get that, but that character, when in the first week when people were just learning how each of the different heroes worked, was just seemed so overpowered. In fact, I had this interview lined up at BlizzCon, and one of my questions I was immediately thinking, I need to talk to them about this because this seems like bullshit. Like, what the fuck?
These guys have got to know about it.
How do they not?
They've got a disaster under their noses.
How do they not know this? This is fundamental games. Like Chris Pratt is going to have to lay down some hard truths.
Oh my god, that's the world gone to.
And seriously, every game you play,
Chris Pratt, nice alliance. What do you got to say about Turret Guy?
It's too good.
Every game you play, the defensive team would have at least one of these characters, sometimes two. And if they set up an opposing corner or something, people would just walk into a choke point and you just get decimated.
Oh, that's interesting. So there's no draft type. You can only have one kind of one character.
Yeah, I don't. At least in the modes that they've got so far. And once again, so that seemed like a really that seems shit. I thought the game is really going to struggle with that. Up until about a week into it, people suddenly realise, shit, that character actually has some really obvious counters. So it's a turret that puts a shield in front of it. So if you try and attack it head on, it's got a freaking big machine gun. It's a turret. It's gonna hurt you.
Go around behind.
There are characters that really specialise at travelling around the map. Like there's a character called Farah who has a jetpack, and you can perhaps use her to take a different route and find your way behind. There's a character that can become invulnerable for 3 seconds or something, and so if you can get close enough, use the invulnerability and literally travel through the shield of the turret. They can't
get up and move.
Yeah, get out of turret mode quickly enough before you just destroy them. And there are a bunch of characters that I can think of 4 really obvious counters to that turret. And suddenly the whole meta game shifted within a week, and I loved it. I went from really worried that this hero switching.
Well, that sounds good to me because, as I say, one of the earliest problems that people have with games like League of Legends or Dota is actually when they don't know what they're doing, they pick the wrong character.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's like you've set off a nuclear bomb and you've got all these people shouting at you. And the thing is, if you're new to the game, you probably, even if you've done tutorials and stuff, you probably still don't understand what you've done wrong.
And you need to be invested in the community outside the game to even keep up with that.
So at least now, these guys, if they really care about it, they can just change to the character that the team needs. And shut up.
People have been really good at that in my experience.
It'll be fascinating to see how it does when it goes out into the wild, because the big problem with MOBAs is, yes, they attract a huge audience, but they also attract the worst audience.
It's weird, because we've talked previously about how it's an evolving thing. We've talked previously about how Destiny is a really nice community.
Yep.
And this week's the first time I've seen a few people suddenly going, I'm really sick of the community in Destiny. Reacting to changes, talking on forums and stuff.
Sure.
And now that it's sort of codifying outside of the game, there seems to be an emerging toxic streak, and you're like, oh no, it can happen to anyone.
Yeah, it's just because they found a place to settle.
Exactly.
It's that thing of, it's basically just, the only solution is not allowing people to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Complete censorship of the world.
That's interesting. Complete censorship.
And then we will have a nice time.
Overwatch has pushed talk as standard and has been. You can turn it off. You can go into options and.
You're in the beta.
Yeah, closed betas.
Yeah, and that is the thing, and it has been nice and often useful.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I know
it'll be interesting.
That game is gonna face a real challenge once it goes public, and also Blizzard are really hoping that this can be another esport contender. And
I think. Well, sorry, Karen.
I think it looks very promising, but I probably thought that about Heroes of the Storm, which really has struggled to be the third most popular MOBA, which I'm not even sure if it is. Maybe Smite's bigger.
It probably is, yeah. I mean, it's I didn't really have much interest in Heroes of the Storm. It felt very light and very fun, but I don't know, it's weird. It's my question with Heroes of the Storm was, who's it for, apart from Blizzard fans, because it has great fan service, but it simplifies what a MOBA is so much. But then you think, well, why? But
Hearthstone does that for Magic the Gathering and is enormous.
That's true.
So,
but I guess the difference is that Magic the Gathering isn't enormous these days.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you,
in the video game landscape,
not in video games. That's very fair.
Yeah.
Well, MTGO is like millions and millions of dollars, but again, that's a Destiny-like silent community. So
it's still a big community, sure, but it's more like I'm talking about like League of Legends.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
not
fact
on Twitch very much.
Well, no, that's fair.
That for me is the defining thing for an esport isn't the big tournaments, because Call of Duty has a big tournament every year. At Heroes of the Storm, they pump loads of like official money into doing big Blizzard tournaments.
Yeah.
But for me, like the difference is, though, getting a community that wants to watch these pro players on their like training days just playing practice games, and like League of Legends, Dota 2 have that every single day. Hearthstone has a pretty decent following for that kind of stuff.
I've got to say that the culture surrounding a lot of it is just, I think, just awful. Like,
what,
I think,
esports or
yeah, I think it's just it's like the worst of games and the worst of sports.
We saw a man get strangled this week.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like, yeah, you know, a guy who's supposed to be an esports journalist. I mean, admittedly, he's not really a journalist. He's a Breitbart worker. But he strangled one of the people that he was supposed to be covering, and it's not sure whether or not how the altercation started. But I think even if somebody
strangling's bad.
Yeah,
let's nail our colours to the mast.
I kind of feel like even if I was like interviewing someone and they tried to start a fight with me, I don't think I'd strangle them. I just think it's not what you do really as a journalist.
Do you know what the best viewing community on the internet remains to be?
Bob Ross?
Salty Bet.
Salty Bet.
I went back to Salty Bet this week. That is the greatest thing that's happened to video games, maybe ever. Better than Mouse to Move. Mouse to Look, I should say. All of that.
I think it's really hard to tell on Twitch in particular, because Twitch, more than YouTube, has a real problem with once a stream gets big enough, the chat becomes worthless. It's all like shitty jokes and like the most immediate worst comments you can imagine.
Oh, I've got to say, I would have actually like quit my job last year if I lived in America. Like, just the threat of like being... I mean, with Twitch, there's so much like people trying to swap people or people pretending. Even if it didn't happen, even if I thought that there was a risk that a swap team might turn up to my house at night, I would not do this. I would stop. I'd just be out. I'd go, but I'm going to make commercial videos about fruit or something. I don't fucking care.
I also don't think Twitch is a fair representation of the community as a whole.
No, it's not.
No.
Once again, I'm going to do... Oh, God, I need to start doing this. I genuinely do sound brainwashed. Seeing the competitions at BlizzCon, like, people were genuinely just having a lovely time. That kind of stuff is really promising.
Of course, I think it's just more like, you know, with esports and with esports heroes and stuff, you just look at... I mean, you watch documentaries about them stuff, and it's just like, these are mad kids.
Well, it's sports. Yeah. Sports in general. This is what happened. Like, I support Tottenham Hotspur, and I got really happy about a game, and then heard that our fans had stabbed a child after a game the other day. And you're like... brings me down a bit. It's not quite what I liked after a 4-1 victory. We didn't need to stab a child. That's bad. It's vicarious competition is like a terrifying drug for some people.
Yeah. And maybe that's why Salty Bet has the best audience, because it's inherently pointless and stupid.
Yeah, exactly. They're laughing
random.
They're laughing at AI. Yeah, it's really odd. But yeah, just to get sexy for a second, Chris, what's the free-to-play architecture like in Overwatch?
So it's not free-to-play.
Is it not?
No, this was revealed just before this.
It's free to buy if you want to spend money, you scrub.
I think free. Wasn't that something that Satoru Iwata once said? Free to buy. I think that was a thing he said.
Free to start.
Free to start.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and that's kind of stuck actually. I think that's how Apple described
quite possibly
their iOS stuff. But yeah, it looked for all intents and purposes that it was going to be a free to play game with maybe microtransactions, hopefully cosmetic ones. It turns out it is a paid-for game, and...
Because it's coming out on consoles as well, right?
Yes, I think that's probably a big driving force behind it. There is a digital version on the PC, which is slightly cheaper. You get all the... So this is the weird thing, and this is actually something I ran into during my interview. They worded it very carefully, and this I actually think stems from the fact that they don't really know how popular it's going to be yet, and how cool they can be about microtransactions. Because you need to be popular to be cool,
yes.
Right? When it comes to microtransactions. So they worded it very carefully. They said that when you buy the game, you'll get all 21 heroes, but there are going to be more heroes after that. And we don't know how they're going to introduce them to the community. The moment they say...
Isn't it? $6 each.
It sounds like Evolve.
It doesn't work.
That's basically Evolve.
It doesn't work in Overwatch, because I said, the game's all about this, how fluidly you can switch between characters, and how some of them have such obvious counters. Like there'll be a character that's doing really well in a game. You'll need to switch to someone that can heal that. The moment you have that decision, you go, oh crap, that's a character I need to buy. The whole thing falls apart.
Oh well, you made me really worried about a game I was excited for.
I don't think they want to do it. That's why they haven't come out and said it either way. I think the game needs to be popular enough that they can sell cosmetics in it is actually viable.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they know it. I don't know if they know whether it will be. Which is weird because in my interview I asked them and I got them the vaguest of vague answers. Yeah,
they probably just don't know at this point, do they?
They don't know how many people are going to buy it.
No, obviously.
They still don't really know the console market that well, even though Diablo did well.
That's the thing. Like
they don't know who's going to buy Overwatch.
The Masterstroke is releasing it on console in my mind. Sure. Like especially like a Blizzard game on console is an exciting thing.
I worry though that a name like Overwatch and the character style of what it is, that just screams to me failed game.
Overwatch is the worst name.
It is in a genre of failed games, for sure, because it's going up against. Let's run through some of them. It's going up against Battleborn.
That's the one
from 2K.
Battleborn's dead in the water. What's going to happen?
It's going up against Battlecry.
When's that out?
May, I think.
All right.
Well, it's similar time then.
Yeah.
It's going up against Battlecry, which Bethesda have already said they're reevaluating. Gigantic, which is Xbox One exclusive, I think,
and Windows 10. But
Windows 10. And then they're going up against Paladins as well, which is from the same people that made Smite. Like that, there isn't enough room in this genre that hasn't actually proven that it's popular yet for that many games with such shit names.
Yeah,
it's
mad.
I don't bet against Blizzard there though. That's the only thing. I think Blizzard are perhaps big enough to carry a name like Overwatch.
Blizzard don't start their first new franchise in what?
Also,
a million years.
All their games have bad names.
True, but
Warcraft and Starcraft
Hearthstone is a terrible name.
I think
Hearthstone
PC
is like an in-joke for them. It's like a reference.
I reckon PC, sure. Yeah. I don't know, I just feel like, I don't know, there's something about the name and the box, I haven't seen the box art, but I just sort of feel like, it reminds me a bit of Dreamcast era. There's something about it that's, that kind of like...
Have you seen?
I don't know.
Have you seen the first trailer?
It reminds me of the 360 post Gears.
Yeah,
seeing binary domain and shit.
Yeah, that's the other part, and that's, to be honest, binary domain really is a reflection of that.
We've talked about this before.
Binary domain really at the time just thought, oh my god, this is so fucking Dreamcast, and that's why I loved it. But it's that kind of, there's a combination of the wrong name and the wrong character art, which just traditionally console art just means dead.
I've done a 180 on the character art since I've seen that they are going to release some amazing trailers for that game.
No,
I love it.
I think the Overwatch.
I think it'll be great.
I think the Overwatch art is beautiful, but the name is terrible.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I had no idea it wasn't free to play that.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it.
Free to put your hand in your pocket and buy something for once in your life.
Oh my god!
This game looks really good. I don't want to buy it.
Well, get it free with it.
I can't get it for download on the free.
No, because it's interesting. It's not in any way an enticing prospect. It kind of falls into the same category. But I really thought it was an amazing thing when they announced Fable Legends was going to be free to play, because it is a game with Fable in the name, which people like.
Yeah,
it's not going to do well because people are going to open it and go, this isn't Fable though. But to see a big console developer going, here's a free-to-play game with close to Valve style approaches
the
to free-to-play.
Don't sound bad.
It's got hero rotation is the only major, it's League of Legends as opposed to Dota. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a huge step, and I thought Overwatch might fall into a similar camp, but clearly not.
Yeah, but Fable Legends is, people have forgotten about that.
Really that's quickly. Been in beta for a year.
I kind of find it quite hard to understand. I don't really gauge it anymore because I don't have an Xbox One, and I still don't really have an interest in getting one. I permanently ignore most kind of exclusive Xbox stuff just because I know I'm not going to play it. But then it means that I don't know, I can't tell when I'm thinking, I haven't think about that. It's like, is it because you don't care, or is it because it's gone quiet?
I've gone very, very quiet.
I think there's a studious quietness to Fable Legends. I don't know why.
I think it's in a post-Evolve world. I think of the Evolve flopping that hard freaked out a lot of people. Who was it? When BioWare going to do a 4 or 5 versus 1 game, and then
was it Shadow something? Shadow
that was supposed that had a demo and everything, and then Fable Legends isn't a million miles away with this kind of.
It's a great shame actually because Left 4 Dead was incredible, and Left 4 Dead 2 was incredible, and obviously marketing is all about being able to estimate your return investment. And obviously what happened with Evolve was they kind of based it on Left 4 Dead and thought we can make money from this as a product. Then it flopped so hard. And now, unfortunately, means that, for a while, you're going to have a hell of a time trying to convince any marketing people that that kind of game is viable.
And the forgotten thing here is that Evolve's flop was not because it was a bad game.
No.
It was a really good game.
And what's funny about it...
It was just the shittest marketing in the world.
And that's what's amazing about it, is because the people who have to greenlight this stuff are marketeers, and the problem with Evolve was marketing.
Yeah, it's mad.
They're never going to admit that.
Yeah, it's insane. They screwed up so many times in the process.
I went from being like,
that
game looks amazing, but just before the game came out, I was like, just fuck this game.
Yeah.
And then the review said, it's good, and I'm like, no, I just don't care.
And nobody is playing it anymore.
Nope.
And that is, it's really weird how this stuff happens when these new genres that people think are going to work. Like, I don't really want to. Overwatch sort of fits into this kind of MOBA-y shooter.
Well, the thing that Blizzard are great at is goodwill, and the thing that they fucked up with. I mean, that's going to be like an amazing story in a few years' time. I'm sure the story of Evolve will be probably an amazing documentary or book, but that just went from being something quite exciting to just being the biggest fuck up in so many years. But I think it's different. I think it's just
no, I just mean like the idea of people going all in on these genres that haven't proven that there really is a base for them. Because although I really liked playing Evolve, I really liked playing Evolve with a group of people that I knew everyone, and we all talked. That doesn't happen very often.
No, I agree.
And so the longevity isn't really there, and yet there were suddenly a bunch of studios going after games of a similar idea. I think Rainbow Six Siege is going to flop because of that, because it needs people working together and talking together all the time, which is amazing. It's some of the best video games you'll have when it's like a group of mates, but then you go online and play with randoms, and like, is that any fun anymore?
Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege is like the coolest setup for a game that I have no interest in playing.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
If the three of us played it right now, I'm sure we'd have a brilliant time with it as well.
The problem is, and actually there's a bunch of problems, but I think really the big one is that it's not 2004, 2005 anymore. You know, I remember when Halo, I can't remember when Halo 3 came out. I think it was around then. But when Halo 3 came out, it was actually pretty late than that.
Yeah, it was a bit late, I think.
When it came out, it was one of those things where I remember you went on Xbox Live and everyone was playing Halo 3. And it was that thing if there was just less games, and there were less games that were fucking great. And it meant that when these games came out, you didn't have to scramble around being like, let's find some friends.
Yeah.
Everyone was on.
Yeah, I played Halo 2 for a year.
And
like, that was it. Like,
I
everyone had it.
And now you don't get that. And now you get, I mean, I liked it because you get that with Destiny a bit. Every time there's a new expansion, suddenly everyone's on Destiny. And it means you can do this thing of just playing with friends.
It's kind of what, now that I think about it, it's kind of what made Monster Hunter so special for me at the start of this year, because there's something endearing about how hard it is to get that game sorted for a multiplayer group. That once you've got one, everyone's in it. Yeah. Everyone's like, fuck it, we're going to do this every day. And we did.
I just played with my brother loads.
Yeah.
But I wonder, it's not just about it's partly there's too many games, everyone's doing stuff. Like, I got really annoyed because I got that's the date's the wrong way, but I got bloody
Black Ops Zombies.
I got Black Ops 3, and I've had a bit of a go on Black Ops 3 on my own.
Yeah.
The first level of the campaign is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Just like unbelievably ridiculous bullshit. You're just shooting robots coming out of red mist, and I'm just like, this is actually amazing. I played it really drunk with my mate on a split screen co-op. We were going to play zombies, but you couldn't do that split screen.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So we just played the campaign, and we were just rolling about laughing.
Yeah.
It was just
it's so stupid. I mean, it gets much worse, unfortunately, but it's worth it. We will play zombies.
No, I know, but the thing is, this is the problem.
There's a million games.
We've had the rise of the big game. So now I'm like, I want to play some Call of Duty with some friends. And then you're all on Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Because these all-encompassing single-player experiences are now fighting for oxygen with these tight 4-player co-op things.
And actually, it's a really interesting dichotomy. You have two types of game. You have 4-player multiplayer games, or you have single-player games that take 300 hours to finish.
Yeah.
Like, that's the two games this year. It's weird. We were putting, as all websites are at the moment, we're all debating our Game of the Year lists. And you look at it and you go, 2015, everyone has the same list. There's no...
That's pretty varied, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
You're cool, though. You're cool, guys. Sorry. No, but like...
Coolo gamer.
Nice.
In terms of like the upper echelons, where it's always going to, it's the big RPGs that came out,
sure.
and Her Story everyone loved, and Invisible Ink everyone loved, and then some other stuff.
That's actually been a problem. I think the reason ours are all a bit different is because not everyone had the time to play all the big RPGs, and there's been so many.
This is what I think. That's why you got lots of people having the same things. Is because you've got these different types of games that either like these big all-encompassing RPGs that have been so many of them that if you've just played those, you've played fucking nothing else this year. Yeah. But then also stuff like Her Story, where it's like it's cheap, it's over in 3 hours.
I love those games so much.
I do, because they're a palate cleanser in a sea of way too much stuff.
I wish, like, Gone Home had come out this year. And I could just be like, it's 2 hours long, it was so good and sumptuous and interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I love that stuff.
I mean, it's difficult, because I've just been playing a lot of Persona 4 Golden, and I'll talk about that probably next week with Quinns.
Isn't that a, like, 60-hour game or something?
Yeah, but I had, like the muscles in my spine.
Okay,
I suppose it's also actually Persona 4 is an interesting one because it splits itself into distinct sections anyway, doesn't it? So you've got like a sense of how it progresses. It's not Fallout where you're going from one place and then you go, I'm just going to go over there, and then it's 9 hours later. Like,
it's addictive because it's just like day by day. It's like a calendar year. I'll talk about that game when Quinns is here because I know he's played and loved it a lot more.
But JRPG. That's my only contribution.
And I'm thinking, like, I quite fancy the look of like Xenoblade.
This is my terror. Is this week?
You don't get into the Mac for like 40 hours or something. In that.
I know, right? And
these games are so big. Everything's so big.
I had written off Xenoblade.
Guys, we need to work out how to freeze time. I'm serious.
I genuinely haven't been able to complete. I haven't started in Fallout yet. I haven't been able to complete The Witcher 3 or Metal Gear Solid 5
doing Fallout.
yet.
I haven't started Witcher 3.
And
help me!
I finished Witcher 3. I still haven't finished Hearts of Stone, and I need to because it's going to be the best. And
I want to think that, but I haven't I just didn't have like a weekend to spend with The Witcher 3.
This must be now like all these people who've made these like amazing 4-player online experiences because they were the big thing a few years ago.
Yeah.
And now just going, oh, fuck off. When they look at like The Witcher 3, Fallout 4, all these gigantic games of being like, how can we...
Yeah.
It's not, because the problem is you're not competing for one person's time. You're competing for like everyone's time because that person needs to have their friends free.
Yeah.
I think the way Steam does it is quite smart of being like bundle deals, of being like buy 4 copies of this.
Yeah.
But even that's a bit weird because then it's like...
This is why I think... I said Rainbow Six Siege is probably going to flop. I think, that's a full price game that you're buying, and you need like 3 other people to also buy probably to have a nice time.
But this is why Overwatch this is why Overwatch being free to play made sense to me, because like you look at people are still playing fucking Warframe because it's free. Warframe's bollocks. The idea of like a Pixar MOBA made by Blizzard for free is genius. Like that's it. Everyone's playing that game.
Yeah,
if it's good. But like
it's good.
Yeah. Just one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I found the same thing playing Starcraft 2, is the fact that it's got this really cool new co-op mode.
Yeah.
So you can basically do these missions where it gives you the sense of you playing like online a bit, because, the AI is not bad.
Yeah.
But there's also this nice thing of the fact that you have different characters, so it splits up the races into different characters, so that you don't always get the full roster of that race's units. But as you play and as you do these missions, and they're kind of like you just choose one from a random list, and it plays you a mission like stop the trains or blow up the crystals, and it's all just usual shit. But you level up, and then your character gets new things, which means like you unlock new units to your roster, or just like mad, or like all the stuff you get in the single player campaigns of being like, oh, you can do this, and it's like massively overpowered stuff that it never puts in the multiplayer.
Yeah, sure.
It slowly adds that, but it has this nice thing of it being like, okay, you start off on normal difficulty, but then it's like once you've got a character like level 7, you've unlocked like 5 of the unlocks or whatever, like it starts to go, hey, you can play on hard now. Like,
who you played it with?
Well, that's the thing, is nobody's fucking on.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what I was thinking when I saw
I've played it. I've got one friend, Martin Gaston, who used to be a journalist, who's he popped on, and I was like, oh, will you play with me? I had to really bug him. I mean, he's a good friend, so I knew he wouldn't mind too much, but I was really like, please play this with me. I want to see if it's good. And it's this thing of being like, yeah, it's crazy. It's a game as high profile as Starcraft 2, and I was just like, no one's on it.
Yeah.
No one I know anyway, And I have difficulty enough.
Is it different this year, or is it just? I don't know. Like it feels like the.
I think it's like
I think a big group of big RPGs that I feel like I need to have played.
I think it's just critical mass this year.
Yeah.
It's like The Witcher and Fallout by themselves are enough,
Metal Gear.
and Metal Gear, and then you've got Mad Max, and you've got you've got lots of like, fucking Mad Max 2 years ago would not have been a B-list game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed is a fucking B-list game this year.
Imagine if Shadow Mordor comes out to like
No one plays
2015.
it.
That
would have
would
been
struggle
gone.
to get the
Shadows
same
of
thing.
Mordor 2 will probably come out, and it might not just mean anything by then because there's too much stuff. I mean, I honestly think now, and this is why I agree with Joe that I think Overwatch not being free to play is tricky, is the fact that I honestly think now that the only way you can have an online cooperative based experience game that keeps an audience
Like a sensation.
is by having an ecosystem. It isn't just enough to have a game that you buy and play with your friends anymore, because those days are over. You need to have an ecosystem that people visit. Like Destiny's great because I'm not playing it much anymore. Like I now just get into it for a few days here and there and then forget about it for a while. But I like that. But when I'm in it, it's a nice little ecosystem that I feels comforting. And I'm not going there to play with friends. I'm just going there to play, and then my friends are there because they're going to play as well. And Dota was like that as well. It was the fact that because it's so fun, you log on because you want to play Dota. And then sure enough, other people who you know are also doing the same thing, and then you go, do you want to play? And they go, yeah. And it's like,
you think it needs free to play for that? Overwatch is doing that for me at the moment. Like that is, I'm getting
You're
the
playing
same
for free.
the same sense. I am playing for free, but I don't know.
if they can make it so it's really fun to play not with your friends, then that doesn't matter.
It is.
And that's for me is why Destiny's great. People always say, oh, should I get Destiny because I don't play with my friends? I'm like, it's so much fun when you approach the high level stuff with friends, and it's so much fun just to dick around with your mates doing nothing, talking about not the game at all, just talking bollocks while shooting stuff in the head. But crucially, I played most of that game late last year when I had a lot of time on my hands and I was sort of losing my mind for personal reasons, and I just played it on my own all day, and I loved it. Like just having that kind of the momentum of going around, jet bike, jump off, shoot things in the head, jet bike, pick up treasure. It's a lovely little thing to explore. But that's the thing is, if you can't keep people in there, and this is why with things like Rainbow Six Siege of being like you have to meet up, get in the team with your friends, and then play online, never gonna fucking work. If you can,
and then it's stressful as well. Like that's another thing. It's like actually weird. This is if we have time to talk about the games I've been playing. Stress has been a weird thing for me this week, where I suddenly go, oh, actually, yeah, games that stress me out, I want to play way less than I used to. Like I used to challenge myself with stuff. So like.
Same.
Yeah, so like I've been playing Codename S.T.E.A.M. and Invisible Ink, which are both tactics
Invisible Ink's
RPGs.
hella stressful.
Exactly, and this is it. It's like Invisible Ink is like 3 years ago. That's down to a T, like perfect game for me.
Right now, it is perfect game for me. I adore it.
It's absolutely incredible. Really, but playing some of those missions, like my first mission on my first ever go, I lost one of my agents and I had to restart because it obviously.
I'm so sorry.
It was Decker. It was but like, and I had to turn it off. I was just like, I don't want to retry. I feel really bad, and I don't know what it is about games being stressful that now gets to me. I'm just like I have no time not to relax. If you see what I mean.
I get that.
Since Enemy Unknown, I've chased that feeling more and more though. I want games to kind of go down the Iron Man route, like have a lasting impact. My decisions need to matter, and I guess in a way I kind of want to feel stressed out whilst playing.
I think the thing for me is I can only do it in games like that now. So that's why I like Invisible Ink and I like XCOM, because I have to play games where the pace is at my leisure, so I get really fucking stressed. But if I go, you know what, this is too much, I can just go and get a cup of tea.
That's the difference between playing Invisible Ink and playing Starcraft 2's multiplayer.
Yeah, Starcraft.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If I win or lose a game in the first 10 minutes of a Starcraft match, fine. If it goes on any longer than that, I can't keep it. My adrenaline levels I collapse. I become like a fucking fritter. I just sit there going, and I become paralysed by options and choices, and I always lose because I can't deal with that sustained stress.
But it's interesting because the key difference between the two games I've been playing is Codename S.T.E.A.M. is portable. So every time I'm on a train, I flip it open, I play a mission. And
is it good? I've heard really mixed things.
It was weird. I mean, its major problem when it came out was that it had this insane decision to make you watch in real time an entire enemy turn.
Oh, God.
But the whole game's based on point of view. So you just wouldn't see anything for like 30 seconds. And he would just sit there and tick away. And that's mad, obviously.
Yeah.
So they updated it and you can fast forward, and if nothing happens, it skips. So that's fine now. As a tactics game, it's very weird and very interesting because it's because it is totally based on point of view. So you're aiming, you're being able to tell where anything is and where anything can see you. Overwatch is like... So, to put it this way, like, the most interesting thing about it is that Overwatch on enemies, when they see...
Overwatch being the reaction shot, not the Blizzard MOBA shooters.
Yeah.
What's a stupid name, Blizzard?
A little, like, laser target comes out of them and starts coming at you. And if you come out and you see that, you can actually run back into cover and they won't hit you in it. It's not like an instant you have walked into their line of sight. So it's half action game inside a turn-based game, which is really strange.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And it kind of works. It doesn't always, but it's quite nice. And it feels like you have a bit more control over your tiny little squad than you usually would. And I like that. And so I'm playing on the train, and that's nice, and I'm doing a mission, and then I finish, and I go and do whatever I was going to go and do. With Invisible Ink, I'm sitting down and being involved in like some of the most like perilous heists of my life, and like avoiding guards by a square and stuff. And I just sit there going, fuck me, I need a coffee and like a bratwurst, and I need to not be near this anymore because it's just too much.
I sit there being like, this is legitimately like one of the only decent heist games I've ever played in my life because of that feeling.
Don't get me wrong, it's the best heist game I've ever played. Like,
it's incredible.
I'm 2 or 3 hours in and I know that.
I actually have not played much of it. I played it when it was in early access and thought, this is amazing.
They've done an incredible job of keeping it fresh as well. Even since launch, like all the characters, or almost all of them, have alternate kind of loadouts to start with, which completely change how the game's feel. It's basically like a whole new set of characters to play around with. And then they've since done an expansion called Contingency Plan, I think, which actually just legit introduces new characters. And there's loads of... Like, you can go back to it now, even if you played it when it first came out.
I think there are still plans that we're going to do a series for it on Cool Ghosts with me and Quinn somehow.
Quinn's has done a fantastic video about the elevators in that game, which I'd recommend people watch as well.
Yeah, that was an old Cogwatch video, wasn't it? I think it was on RPS.
Are we at the point where we can say Clay are like one of the best developers in the world?
Oh, absolutely.
It's insane.
I mean, they are.
Their hit rate is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like Mark the Ninja, Invisible Ink, Don't Starve. Well, who's done that?
Well, you know that Nels Anderson
is
he's the guy who does I mean,
I don't know that guy, so
full
I'm not
disclosure,
biased.
that guy's a dick. I played against Subterfuge with him.
Full disclosure, we hate that guy and we still think the games are amazing. They're unbelievable.
Incredible.
Sorry, they didn't do Don't Starve, but no, they did do Don't Starve, but Cappy have done the new... Cappy, another amazing indie studio, have done their new expansion, which I think is the coolest thing in the world.
And apparently that's really interesting, like all sea and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a
I've never
shipwreck
played
thing.
Don't Starve.
Oh,
so I kind of figure at some point, actually, it might be nice to play.
That's stressful too.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's when you are already like stressed in your day-to-day, that I think sometimes actually it's really nice to have things that really chill you out. And I think that's why I've been getting back into JRPGs a bit, because they're big, but you always know exactly what you're getting into.
How they work.
And their stories are stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
There's no peril.
Yeah, like, I mean, I really enjoyed playing Danganronpa, which is basically not really a JRPG. It's like a visual novel.
It's kind of Ace Attorney-ish, isn't it? I mean, I know it's got different mechanics and stuff.
It's like a bad Ace Attorney with fun characters and a lot of spunk.
Interesting.
But no, it's I really liked it. It's just kind of silly and mad and full of really stupid ideas, and
it's got a daft name that I've never been 100% confident about saying out loud.
I think it's Danganronpa, but I don't know.
That sounds legit.
Yeah. But they have it has like a bear in it that's like that's the headmaster of school, and he's just a serial killer.
Yeah,
bear
isn't it about
kill you all? And
it's a school where every student is like the best at something. So there's like the ultimate chef and the ultimate like darts player or something.
Yeah, it's exactly it. It's like all the best people at these weird things all come to one place, and then you're trapped there, and there's a homicidal bear. It's really
it sounds like a terrible school. It sounds like a
an
really bad
amazing
school.
video
Like,
game.
why would you want to be the best at something and not go to a school specialised in that thing?
Yeah,
because you're already
the academy
the best
system's
at it.
gone wild.
You're already
Tory
the best at
government.
it.
Yeah, but
what are you going to learn?
Well, it is all explained in the story.
You've got a lack of ambition there.
You'd have to be the professor.
You want to be
if
better
you're the best
than you
at
were.
it.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I enjoyed that because it was basically just reading. It's a game of reading and occasionally doing things, which is not very stressful.
Yeah.
And the story is bollocks, but I enjoyed it, and I played through because I wanted to see how the story ended.
If you want to play a really nice visual novel. Have you ever played Attack of the Friday Monsters?
You know, I didn't actually get into that much.
Oh, it's so good.
I quite liked it,
It's
but
so
I found it
nostalgic.
a bit too twee for me.
Oh, it made me want to be a Japanese child in the 80s. It was brilliant.
No,
So
I
good.
kind of liked it, but what annoyed me about that game was the way they tried to flesh it out by having those little shiny collectible things
Oh,
on
that
the ground.
sucked. Yeah, they cut.
And I, unfortunately, I have no defense against that. Like, when I see those things, I need to run around and collect them.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here running around all this fucking twee little Japanese town, picking up these shiny objects that I know I don't need and will do nothing, but I can't stop it.
Well, they help you play quite a bad card game.
Yeah, that I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
I think I'm past that stage. I think I can ignore a collectible nowadays.
I can't. I
Got
wish I could.
3DS? Play
I've got
Attack of the
this.
Friday Monsters.
And actually, one of the
Yeah,
only
but-
problems I have with Persona is it's this lovely thing of you trying to manage your weekly calendar, manage your daily calendar. What are you going to do? How are you going to spend your life? Are you going to get a job? Are you going to spend time with your friends?
I don't know.
Are you going to do these things?
I don't know.
It's this lovely, precisely, it's this lovely sense of like you can't do everything in life. What do you want to do? Which person do you want to be friends with? Because you can't be friends with everyone.
You said this wasn't stressful. This is way more stressful than even.
But that's the problem is it does get a bit stressful because you start to realise that you can optimise it and you can be like, I'll do this and I'll spend my afternoon doing this. And it's annoying because you start to treat your life like a machine and it kind of removes some of the magic of what the game is supposed to be like.
This is Italian professional. I read off a couple of text messages that I just got on my phone whilst we were recording this.
Sure.
This is from Gav Murphy. Just caught
Oh,
up
God.
on episodes 5 and 6 of Subterfuge Diaries. You horrible little snake. That's
Are
unbelievable.
they text messages?
Yeah,
Not WhatsApp.
text message. I don't use
Oh, that's
WhatsApp.
even more invasive to
Yeah.
me, somehow.
Really?
He paid money for them.
Fuck.
He
To
would
say
have
that.
if he was on credit.
If it was 15 years ago.
I knew I was going to derail it then, sorry.
That's
No,
fine.
it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, no, it does. That's these things do get stressful because you start to realise that you're like, oh, I could do this, and then it occasionally does the mad thing of being like, oh, it's summer holidays now, and it just jumps a week, and you're like, no, because it like does
I
this
want to be
thing.
at school.
Yeah, precisely.
Terrible school simulation.
But I kind of one of the things I really like about it is how like it doesn't make sense in England in the fact that like it has all of this like it's very Japanese culturally in the fact that I find it interesting that so many of these Japanese games are based on school, and I think that a lot of that comes back to fantasies of coming of age and fantasies of being like, you know, being back at school but being popular and having
And
really,
perhaps
really
the best
sexy
cosplayer.
girls really like you.
Awesome hair.
And yeah, so I think a lot of it is kind of slightly kind of like if I could turn back time, share style, and slightly just straight up pervy. But what I really love about Persona 4 in particular of having this, and all the Persona games, is this thing that you can study, and when you have exams, you can just basically like study loads. And then if you study loads and you don't go out and you don't do the fun stuff, you do really well in your exams, right? And if you do the best in your exams in your class,
Right.
what do you think happens?
You
Nothing.
get a you get an award or some kind of like.
What do you think would happen in
certificate?
Britain?
A golden sticker.
A golden sticker. Well, in this, you get loads of money from your guardians, your mum and dad or whatever. They give you loads of money as a reward. That kind of makes sense. Fair enough. But the weird thing is all of your classmates like you more and think you're cool. And it's this weird thing of this Japanese cultural thing of this idea of like you're supposed to study because it's what you're supposed to do, and then because
That's
of
how
that,
people like
it's a
you.
good thing. So people who are smart and who study and do well in their exams, they're good.
That's my kind of school. That's
Which
the
is
school
like-
I wish I went to.
Precisely, but in our school, it was like you just get bullied.
Yeah.
Like the idea of like aspiring to be good in exams, and the idea that people would applaud you for being intelligent. It's like this is so alien. It makes me laugh every time I'm in a Persona game, and it's like, oh, you did the best in your exams. Everyone likes you. I'm like, this isn't how the world works.
Is there an option to smoke cigarettes in an alley? 'Cause
No.
That's what all the cool
Well, that's-
guys
that's
did
what-
at my school. That's how they got liked. 'Cause
That's
they
the thing.
stank. They all stank.
Joe, it's alright. You're cool. You're safe now. It's alright.
Stefan's listening. Fuck you.
No, I know exactly what you mean, but it kind of makes it kind of if it was a Western developer, then you'd have the option to like not do your work or just not go to your exams or whatever. Like in this, it has this weird thing where it's like it kept saying to me, "The summer's almost over, and you've got homework to do before the end of the summer." And I was like, "Look, I've already spent a lot of time reading books. I'm actually a genius level now. I'm like the most intelligent you can be in the world. I'm not doing my homework. Like, maybe I'll lose some marks. Who gives a fuck? I'm literally a genius." And then it's like, it gets the last 2 days of the holiday. It goes, well, you haven't done your homework, so you have to do it now. And it just makes me do it. And I'm like, you have to do your homework.
Steve Jobs never did that.
I know. But that's the thing, is it's this weird, like, this kind of culture of respect, I guess, to adults and systems in Japan, that just the idea of them coding a game in which you can choose not to do your homework is somehow like, no, that's impossible.
What's the other half of a Persona game? I've never played one. That's half of it. What's the other
You
half?
go and kill loads of fucking monsters and do some
Kill
mad
demons
stuff.
in people's minds.
Yeah.
It's a game that makes you do your homework and also kill monsters.
Yep. It's really good.
But the monsters are, if I remember, the monsters are people's fears.
Sort of, yeah.
Like children's fears.
Yeah, it's kind of pretty abstract,
Like
but
doing
it's...
badly in your exams.
Is it Persona 3 where they all shoot themselves in the head?
yeah, but they have like kind of...
Super dark.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, there's some nice themes, and it's made me really excited about Persona 5 actually, because Persona 3 was like kind of this idea of like you're at school. It's kind of about juggling friends and juggling your time and being like, well, you've got to do well. Maybe you should, join clubs, but then don't, It's sort of like that kind of teenage lifestyle of like, make your choices. Who do you want your friends to be? Do you want to be successful in school, or do you
Whoever's
want to have,
good
like,
at
friends?
fighting monsters that exist in people's minds.
That's pretty much the way I roll as
Okay.
well. But actually, no, I end up now, I choose the characters I like the most, because I'm like, I want to hang around with this person.
Yeah.
Anyway, the fourth one is like that again, but it starts to implement all of this job stuff, and it means like it's like actually like that kind of late teens thing. So it feels like the first one is early teens, like early school. Then it's like you're at school, you're still doing the school stuff, but you can get jobs, and it kind of feels more like you've got a bit more freedom. You can get a scooter, and then you can go, and it has like really nice ongoing storylines about getting a scooter and going to the beach.
It's really-
I'd love a British Persona.
These
so
sound like
much.
two different
so
games.
good.
Imagine getting to choose to work at John Lewis.
You'd be like, imagine like
I
basically
did.
like Bully, but not a GTA style game.
Yeah.
Like just a really good British school coming of age thing. But with 5, it looks like you're in a city and you've got a job, so it looks like it's going to be. It seems like there's a nice evolution, because all the games, as with most JRPGs, are kind of the same game again, but with new stuff. It feels like they've got a nice continuation. They've got like early teens, late teens, and this seems like maybe you just finished school, you're getting a job, and I don't know. It's always a bit hammy and it's always a bit cheesy, but they really do tackle like these sort of moments in life in quite an endearing way.
No, I've never heard anyone talk about Persona 1 and 2. Is the first one just like you're in the womb, choosing your ambitions and fighting organs? Like,
I don't know. I think they were just because they were on like maybe the PlayStation or something.
yeah.
I don't know, but I really enjoyed the fact that one of the bosses in it was like this basically this guy who was an unsociable arsehole who was obsessed with video games and talked about humans as if they were in a really nasty way, and as a boss who's just this big floating baby. And I was just like, hey, it's a piss baby. These Japanese devs are cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should probably wrap it up now.
And you'll pay for that and not Overwatch.
You pay for that and not Overwatch? Yeah, I bought it on a sale. It's 20 quid. Persona games are great, and they've got amazing
Sounds
music.
bonkers, mate.
Oh,
Sounds
yeah,
bonkers.
music's
Amazing,
good.
like upbeat Japanese pop, like cool
That's
stuff.
what everyone's saying. People are saying like
One of
the
them.
word is Xenoblade has the best music since Persona 4, and that
Yeah.
makes me go, whoa.
Yeah,
Let's
I
do it.
really want to do it, but then it's like I don't know. I think I'm just going to have to regress and forgo all big Western games. I guess in a way it's actually been quite nice, because I think for many years I got put off JRPGs because the vocal community behind JRPGs were just almost uniformly scum, or at best idiots. No, come on, it's just assholes being defending like 12-year-olds that are sexy and
Oh, right.
or
You
like
hear this bit socket?
Okay.
No. I mean, the Bitsocket are fucking lovely, but you know what I mean. It's like you it's embarrassing to say I'm a big fan of JRPGs when you realise that a lot of the community are either people who think there's nothing wrong with sexualising kids, or people who just go, "What's wrong with games where you have fun for half an hour, for 30 hours, and then it wants you to grind for 20 hours to finish the story." It's like these people are either just like a bit kind of maybe like morally dubious, or just fucking thick in terms of understanding game design. But I think that over the past year it's sort of been seen that like actually a huge swathes of the games community are just absolute arseholes or mega thick. So it's allowed me to go back and enjoy JRPGs.
Nice.
Contextually
That was lovely.
clean.
Yeah, it's like it's all bad. So just doesn't
play what you
matter.
want.
Just do what you want. You're going to feel just as dirty in the shower, whether you're playing Overwatch or Persona.
All right. Okay. Sure. Persona still sounds bonkers. I haven't got it. I need to go and watch some videos of this game because I can't picture it. It sounds like the most.
I'll show you. I'll show you
games.
afterwards. It's on my PS Vita
Okay.
over there. And that's it. I think usually we do questions, but I know you guys have both got to shoot off and it's a bit late, so we won't do it this week.
together to plot.
Oh, not the nice science again!
Fire up the submarine, brat!
No, the submarines are over. Oh god, it really was a hell of a fucking thing. The problem with the video series, I'm enjoying editing it. I'm enjoying the fact that I think it's coming together to be a really great series. But at the same time, it's like going back to the old blades every week. Same cuts. You can't forget about it. You can't move on because you're still continuing this story, dragging out something which lasted for us 10 days and something that's lasting maybe 8
I don't like that
months.
everyone thinks I'm a bad person.
That'll come round, I'm sure.
It will.
I do feel bad. I do.
It will.
It will. I know how.
I'll have
I
it
know.
my
I
way.
know how the next few episodes go.
It's fine. I think it's fine. These things all come around sooner or later. But yeah, I won't actually. I was going to talk about Star Wars Battlefront, but I probably won't bother. Just because I thought it was a bit rubbish. If you'd like to know why I thought it was a bit rubbish, I wrote an article for Vice. I think if you just look for Star Wars Battlefront, not very good. It kind of went a bit ballistic on Vice because it got tweeted by their main account, and I still get actually like amazing Twitter avatars, which is just like the person holding a large bud of weed. This other day, his Twitter name had Wu-Tang Clan as part of it. It was like a longer one than that. His chosen display name was Don Draper, and it was a picture of him holding a very large bud of weed. And he said to me, I think you didn't like the game because you weren't good at it.
Oh, that's the classic, isn't
And
it?
I just thought, Sage. I wish I had a pre-recorded video of me in a top hat and a kind of like a proper suit, just turning around with a pipe and going, my God.
Have you ever seen Adam Buxton has that one where it's him in like a big afro wig and sunglasses to like cool music, just like tapping out the comment, and it's always he always plays it when it's like someone thinks they're really cool when they're sending a comment. It's brilliant.
I think that you need to copy this, just have a series of like short Vine or video responses that I can just copy to these people. Because it's spectacular. But Star Wars Battlefront, it's alright if you like Star Wars. I think it's just not a lot fucking going on with it.
No, you don't.
That
You
should be
don't
a
sound
3-hour game.
infused. If I'm honest,
Huh?
you don't sound infused.
I thought it was just rubbish.
Right.
I played it for a bit. I thought it was just rubbish, and then I wrote some words about it. And I kind of don't trust anyone who likes Star Wars as much as they do, because I think that everyone's sort of lost their minds temporarily, and
So
hopefully in
that's
5 years everyone will look back and go. I remember when the first 3 films came out, everyone was getting so excited, and it was literally some of the worst. They weren't even the worst Star Wars films. They were like some of the worst films.
You know, during this episode of the Death Souls podcasts, we've been pretty down on esports, Star Wars, and JRPGs. We're fucked, mate.
Yeah, I know.
That's it now.
But I already lost the JRPG crowd. That was I think that was actually pre-Gamergate, but I had some people record a whole podcast about me because I'd had a go at people defending sexy children in swimsuits in Bravely Default because they thought that this is what we're dealing with, people. I think that's my official statement as well. Anyway, that's it for this week's podcast. Has anyone we got something? Say something uplifting before we finish then.
Fuck. Overwatch is good. I like it. It's worth money. It's better than free to play. Joke Scrabbles.
I'm talking from a market perspective.
He's looking at the bigger picture.
I like it.
Brat.
I think people should pay attention to it because it is good and reason to actually be interested in it.
I think video games are great, and I love Persona 4, and I'll talk about that more next week.
Scrabbles, you need to do something quick.
Soup is great in winter.
Soup is fantastic.
I'm really into soup.
Oh god, I need to go into the microwave.
You got
Jesus
a soup
Christ.
setting.
We can't end on a microwave setting.
What does it do?
It detects how hot the soup is, and it just keeps
Don't
cooking
mention the
it to top.
sensors.
What?
Don't mention
I
the
know, right?
sensors.
I know.
What kind of fresh madness is this?
And you know what? I switched it on earlier. I switched on the soup heat setting when there was no soup in the microwave.
Did it know?
He just started doing it, and it's like, well, when will this end?
Yeah.
So I just switched off in a panic. I was really worried, because otherwise it's going to be trying to infinitely heat up soup that isn't there.
Soup.
I have to watch this.
He was there.
Sounds good.
He couldn't believe
Why
it.
do you not like this?
Come on, Brat. That's the most exciting thing in this whole fucking podcast.
You like Crusader Kings 2 and you don't like soup settings. They're the same thing.
That is unbelievable.
Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
You're a piece of work.
Goodbye.